What's up, niche community? There's a facet of Roblox that seems to not get too much notoriety, yet is a large part of the platform and has contributed to the growth of Roblox significantly. And based on the title, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, and that is the Roblox economy. I will specifically speak on the limited economy, as that is the majority of what the economy consists of. There are other factors such as development and such, but I typically associate limiteds to the Roblox economy. As someone that has traded for many years and has made over 8 million total profit from trading, I feel qualified to speak on the topic, so let's hop right into it. First of all, what are limiteds, what purpose do they serve, and how do they begin? So limiteds are items that were either on sale that Roblox made limited, or they were items that Roblox set a quantity cap at, and once that cap was reached, they went limited. They are regular Roblox items, except they have a value and can be traded between users and sold for Robux on the marketplace, and we will speak more about this later. They were meant to add an economy to Roblox and add more depth to the website. Plus, it gave items different echelons. There were standard on sale items and then limited items, which were basically just like the upgraded versions of them that served more of a purpose rather than just being worn. Now that we just touched on that, let's move onward to how the economy works. Each limited can be sold for Robux, and you could own multiple copies of every limited, but when you sell, Roblox takes a 30% tax. This allows most items to constantly inflate over time because no one wants to get less Robux than the actual value of the item. So if an item is valued at 15k for example, people will sell for 20k Robux and still receive 14k Robux, which is less than the value of the item. This sets items up to eventually get larger sales that are higher than their value, which causes the value of the item to raise because the sales affect the item's value. This is part of the reason as to why limited items have gone up significantly in value over the years. Another reason why is Robux inflation. As Roblox has grown more and more, Robux have been bought and created. This adds more and more Robux into the economy constantly, which lowers the value of Robux. So 10 Robux in 2010 is worth like 50 Robux in 2026, for example. And with more Robux in the economy, sales of limited items go up, which raises their value. Also, just to backtrack a bit, the 30% tax does actually help lower inflation, as inflation would be much worse, but it also gives the incentive to sell higher. So Robux don't inflate, but limited items do inflate. This means that limited items typically inflate at a faster rate than Robux. So an item that was 10k value in 2016 now is easily like 400k value in 2026 versus the Robux being worth like 100k now compared to 10k Robux in 2016. Now, of course, if you've seen my channel before, you know I have to talk about the BM related part of the economy. So basically, Robux and limiteds can be sold for real money on many different platforms similar to CS2 skins. This adds a new layer of depth for limited items and makes them more of an asset, almost comparable to NFTs, but they serve significantly more of a purpose and retain/gain value much better than NFTs. Originally, there was no USD market for limited items, but as the platform grew, there became a larger demand for limiteds and people didn't want to actually work for them. So USD buying became a thing and just grew from there. This also gives a new layer to limited items because this could be seen as a profitable hobby, and buying and selling limiteds and Robux could make you serious money. Some top sellers have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, and a handful have probably profited or at least sold up to $1 million worth of limited items. The BM is a very interesting place and is like the final puzzle piece to the Roblox economy. Now let's move on to ways that you could profit from limiteds, such as projecting items. So someone would pick up, let's say, 50 copies of an item that's 5k wrap, and then buy one copy for like 100k Robux to inflate the wrap to 15k, for example. Then they would try to quickly trade off all their copies for the inflated value that they created. Someone who's very successful with this method is Doxed. There's also item manipulation, where someone fabricates an item doing well that they own many copies of. They will typically do it with multiple accounts and with friends. There are lots of people who do this, most notably Massey, and here's how it works. There's a prominent server called Rollymons that controls all limited item values. The economy, while controlled by Roblox, is handled by Rollymons, and in order to see how good an item is, there's a feature called proofs, and these item manipulators will either fabricate proofs with their friends or alt accounts, or have their friends simply get other owners' copies and give large amounts for these items. This creates a layer of hype. So if an item that usually gets 10k value overpays begins to get 100k overpays suddenly, hype occurs, and these manipulators will essentially pump and dump the items they hype. As of recording this video, an example of an item that is going through this right now is Winner. This affects the economy because it adds a lot of unnatural gains and causes large market shifts. Now I just want to briefly touch on another way to profit, which is just normal trading. Getting an item for 300k value and then trading it off for 310k value and so on. That's how trading was originally meant to be, and that is the most natural form of trading and profiting, and the majority of people do this. Let's get back to the general point now. Limited items are essentially the wealth you have on Roblox. Since they are the only things on the platform that have a value, the amount of Robux in your account doesn't give your account any actual value. If you own 200 regular items, they don't give you a value. They are purely for aesthetics, but limiteds give you a value and are typically associated with wealth on the platform. If you have 2 million value worth of Roblox limiteds, then you actually have an account worth of 2 million Robux, rather than just having the Robux on your account and letting them sit there. It's almost like a status symbol, and since they are related to real money due to the BM, your account actually has a value with actual money as well. So someone worth 2 million value is also worth like 6,000 US dollars. And to conclude this video, I just want to summarize the Roblox economy in the best way possible. The Roblox economy is primarily built around limited items, which are items in many different shapes and sizes that can be traded and sold between players. These items act as stores of wealth and give Roblox accounts an actual value that regular items cannot do. Their prices generally increase over time due to Roblox's 30% marketplace tax, a limited supply, and the constant creation of new Robux. Limiteds can also be bought and sold for real-world money through third-party markets, or for short, the BM. This gives them real-world value and turns them into digital assets. The economy is influenced by trading regularly, investing, and market manipulation. Because limiteds are the only real items with a measurable value on Roblox, they are often used as a status symbol and a way to measure a player's wealth, both in Robux and indirectly in real money. Now, if you guys stayed this far, please join my Discord server where I help with all things limited and BM related. If you have any questions, either state them there or in the comments. But that's all I got, and thanks for watching.